Atlanta, Georgia is nicknamed the city in a forest because of its unusual abundance of trees for a major city. The city's tree canopy filters pollutants, cools buildings and sidewalks, and reduces energy costs. Atlanta, often called a city in a forest and a tree haven, has a large tree canopy covering much of its area. The city's main street is named after a tree, Peachtree Street, and beyond the downtown, Midtown, and Buckhead business districts, the skyline gives way to a dense canopy of woods that spreads into the suburbs. The city's tree coverage percentage was estimated at 36% in a 2004 model. A 2010 study estimated its tree coverage at 50 to 53%. Atlanta's tree coverage does not go unnoticed. It was the main reason cited by National Geographic in naming Atlanta a place of a lifetime. For a sprawling city with the nation's ninth largest metro area, Atlanta is surprisingly lush with trees, magnolias, dogwoods, southern pines, and magnificent oaks. The city's lush tree canopy, which filters out pollutants and cools sidewalks and buildings, has increasingly been under assault from man and nature due to heavy rains, drought, aged forests, new pests, and urban construction. A 2001 study found that Atlanta's heavy tree cover declined from 48% in 1974 to 38% in 1996. This loss of tree canopy resulted in a 33% increase in stormwater runoff and a loss of 11 million pounds of pollutants removed annually, a value of approximately $28 million per year. Due to a historic drought in the late 2000s, Atlanta lost trees at an unprecedented rate. For example, Piedmont Park lost about a dozen large, historic trees in 2009 compared to 2 or 3 during normal years. Although many of Atlanta's trees are between 80 and 100 years old and thus reaching the end of their normal lifespan, the drought accelerated their demise by shrinking the tree's roots. However, the problem is being addressed by community organizations and city government. Trees Atlanta, a nonprofit organization founded in 1985, has planted and distributed over 126,000 shade trees. Atlanta's city government awarded $130,000 in grants to neighborhood groups to plant trees. The city is home to the Atlanta Dogwood Festival, an annual arts and crafts festival held one weekend during early April when the native dogwoods are in bloom. Proposed construction of a police training facility in the South River Forest, an 80-acre green space in southeast Atlanta and DeKalb County, has led to ongoing protests. Conservationists and activists opposed the project and built encampments in and around the old Atlanta prison farm during 2021 and 2022. This has led to multiple confrontations with police. At a rate of 50 acres per day, the deforestation brought by land development has had a significant impact on area watersheds, as they now flood far more rapidly and to a much greater extent than prior to development. The American Institute of Architecture's 1993 Guide to the Architecture of Atlanta wrote, "The city's greatest natural asset, its lush vegetation and gently rolling topography, which 80 years ago enabled Druid Hills to become one of the most beautiful Olmstedian garden suburbs in North America, distinguishes Atlanta's highway architecture from suburban office complexes in other boom towns like Houston and Tampa." He looked away from the buildings and out over the ocean of trees. Since Atlanta was not a port city and was, in fact, far inland, the trees stretched on in every direction. They were Atlanta's greatest natural resource, those trees were. People loved to live beneath them. Tree coverage, estimated at 47.9% in 2008, with 77% of the canopy on single-family residential land. Density, one of the least dense big cities in the U.S., with 3,500 people per square mile. Trees Atlanta, a nonprofit that has planted over 100,000 trees and runs a program to remove invasive species. Challenges: residential development and a city tree ordinance that makes it easy for developers to remove trees.